If you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, and even just scattered, chances are you're probably struggling with your priorities. The ability to prioritize effectively is a game changer. In a world filled with endless distractions and constant demands, knowing how to prioritize is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. But not to worry, in today's video, we'll deep dive into priorities and how to manage them effectively so you can take back your time and energy. But first, we need to really understand what a priority is, because for some people, everything is a priority. It's really not about what you want to do, it's about what you need to do and what will have the greatest impact. It's about making a conscious choice to allocate your time, resources, and energy to things that align with your core values and your long-term goals. But how do I know what's a priority? Well, a true priority is if something is neglected, it will have significant negative consequences. Let me give you a quick example. Let's just say you have a deadline tomorrow for work, a presentation that you're giving to your team, but your friend calls you and says, hey, let's go have a coffee. Now, you could do both things, but one is more important than the other. In this case, it's obvious that your presentation is more important than having coffee with your friend, because if you don't do the work assignment, then you know you might not be prepared for the presentation, you might be a hot mess, and that's not good. With your coffee date, you can always reschedule, and I'm sure your friend will understand. Now, if you did do both, it might leave you with less time to work on your presentation. You'll feel stressed, you'll feel under pressure, and maybe not having that much time to focus on that one major thing. Also, having coffee with your friend, you might be distracted, stressing out the whole time, thinking about your presentation and what you need to work on. So that's not going to make for a great coffee date either. So it's really about recognizing which task holds more weight and doing that first. Now, that was an example of a short-term priority, but let me give you an example of a longer-term priority, because you might not see the effects immediately. Now, this is a real story. So I signed up for a marathon that I was going to run. It was my first marathon, and I had 6 months to train for it. But at the time, I had also moved into a new place. I was getting married. I had a whole bunch of things happening and a lot of travel dates and plans, just living my best life with the marathon in the future. But training for a marathon is a long-term priority. It's not overnight that you're going to be able to have the stamina and resilience to run, 4 or 5 hours. It requires a lot of work, dedication, and attention, something that I definitely neglected during this time. I was constantly skipping sessions. I was kind of not following the training plan and just thinking that I had enough time to get to it when I needed to. But consistently neglecting my training schedule was going to prevent me from reaching my goal. And me being Delulu, I was thinking that I could run this in 4 hours. There's a longer story to that, but I'll share that later. Now, in the end, I ended up finishing the marathon. Was it the 4 hours? Absolutely not. But what I realized at that moment was, had I trained for it and if I consistently stuck to my plan, I wouldn't have felt so awful, achy, and a missed opportunity. What was supposed to be a wonderful event, which I really cherished and loved doing, could have been so much better had I been more prepared mentally and physically. So that's another thing about not prioritizing properly. You can feel deflated and maybe even a little angry at yourself for letting yourself down. This is why if you have any long-term goals, you have to stay consistent and make sure that it's a priority every single day, small steps. Now, that's the difference between a long-term priority and a short-term priority. But every day we're constantly managing priorities, whether they're short-term or long-term. If we spread ourselves too thin, we might end up accomplishing very little and ultimately not feeling great or fulfilled. So what are the key takeaways from this discussion today? You need to identify your core values and goals. What truly matters to you? What are you working towards? What are you trying to achieve? And what can you do today that will have the most impact? Remember, if you neglect a priority, it will have a negative impact. Use a prioritization method, whether it's the Eisenhower Matrix or just a quick to-do list. Put everything down so you can see it clearly and visually. Find a system that works for you.
You are starting to feel like your to-do list is piling up and it's relentless and becoming a bit of a beast. Don't worry, I got you. I will show you how to tackle this in just 3 steps. And to make this super practical and very relatable, let's start off by meeting Anna. Anna is a busy marketing manager at a growing tech firm. She is a mom to 2 school-age kids. She's constantly juggling deadlines at work and managing her team and her household. And she's struggling to figure out what to focus on in the midst of all of this chaos. So what do? We start with the first step, and that's a brain dump. Make a list of all your tasks. This is the very first step in gaining control. And this means getting everything out of your head and into a single list, no matter how big or small. You're not organizing yet, you're just listing. So you can see that Anna's current list is everything on her plate. It's a mix of urgent client client issues, team responsibilities, home repairs, family events, and even her own professional growth. Does this sound familiar? Well, we've all been there, and it just gets a little bit overwhelming. Everything seems urgent. Everything seems like it needs immediate attention. By putting this in a list, this will give you full visibility of what you're tackling. While this is a great first step, the problem with this list is it doesn't tell her where to start. That's where we use the Eisenhower Matrix. It's a powerful tool inspired by US President Dwight D. Eisenhower. He famously said, "What is important is seldom urgent, and what is urgent is seldom important." This is a very important insight because it helps us avoid reacting to everything. And the matrix helps us prioritize by looking at two key areas. Number one is urgency. Is there a deadline? Does it need attention right now? And number two, importance. Does it matter long term? Does it add real value to your goals? And combining this gives us 4 actions. And we can see here this matrix is divided into 2 columns and 2 rows. At the top, we have what is urgent and important under the do. So get it done now. And then to the right, we have not urgent, but still important. And that's scheduled, save it for later. And then at the bottom left, we have urgent, but not important. So we can delegate this. Who else can do it? And then on the bottom right, we have not urgent and not important. So we can eliminate this, get rid of it. Now let's see how Anna's tasks fits into this matrix. So that's where we go to step number 2, organize your list. So with her brain dump, everything on her list, we need to then categorize into the matrix. We need to pick each item and put them either in the urgent and important category, which is do, get it done now, the not urgent and important category, schedule, save it for later, or the urgent and not important category, delegate, who else can do this, or the not urgent, not important, delete, eliminate. Let's get this done. So you can see here we have listed all her urgent and important tasks under the do. These are things that she has to do right now because they are very urgent. To the right, we have not urgent and important. So these are things that she can schedule. So from her list, we have here, help Liam with a science project, attend Mia's parents' evening, learn AI marketing tools, annual dental checkup, read Atomic Habits. So these are things that she needs to do. They are very important, but she can schedule them in. So for example, she can, set up some time after dinner tonight to help Liam with a science project. For her dental checkup, she can make an appointment that suits her schedule. When she wants to read her book, maybe it's something that she does, at the end of her evening routine, et cetera, et cetera. So she needs to block out time to make sure that she gets these things done. And then on the bottom, we have here urgent and not important. So these are tasks that she can delegate. Can someone else do this? So we've put here grocery shopping for the week and send follow-up email to a new sales lead. For the grocery shopping for the week, maybe she can ask her partner to give her a hand with that. And for the follow-up email to a new sales lead, she can definitely pass that on to a colleague or maybe even automate these tasks if she wanted to. And then last but not least, we have delete. None of this has real impact with all the other things that she really needs to do. So this is how we apply her brain dump, her big task list, into the Eisenhower Matrix. So we can rank them based on urgency and importance. The third and last step is action and adapt. We want to make sure everything in your do quadrant you're tackling right away. So these are your urgent and important tasks. Do this immediately. These are your top priorities. Number 2, anything in your schedule corner, make sure you block out specific time in your calendar for these important but not urgent tasks. This way we block out time for it and we don't miss it. Delegate anything in this area that is urgent but not important. Ask someone else to do, or try to make these tasks more efficient with automation or templates. So for example, back to the groceries for the week, maybe she can have a reoccurring delivery for things that they normally eat. And lastly, delete. This is things that you can do without. Free up your mental space by just choosing not to do these things because they're not urgent and not important. So these are things that don't have to be done right now, or maybe not at all. Again, I know they take up space in your head, but releasing them and letting them go really helps you focus in on what is urgent and important. So I hope this was helpful in helping you prioritize your tasks and gives you focus for what's important and meaningful to you.
This is a big one. Learn to say no. Be aware of how you're spending your time. Is it in alignment with your priorities? Be prepared to adapt as your circumstances changes. Prioritization is an ongoing process. Be prepared to make adjustments to see how it works for you. By focusing on the most important tasks, we eliminate the anxiety of having a mountain of unfinished work. When we know where to direct our energy, we achieve more in less time. We steadily make progress towards our dreams. It allows us to create space for things that truly matter, like spending time with our family, friends, and hobbies. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What are your biggest struggles when it comes to prioritization? What strategies have you found helpful? If you like this episode, please subscribe and like. See you later.